1212. Okay, so it looks like the sound is working. I am going to start again. So this time in Building Snaptier we are going to work on test helpers. So let's see. In the last episodes we identified when doing tests that we had duplicated these chunks of code to test properties inside of operations and tiers. So in today's stream we are going to work on test helpers so we can use something like this API. So to do that we need to go to the test case, and here this is the class all the test extend. So I am going to add a new trait called tier test helpers, and now I am going to create the tier. So let's check if this works. I'm going to create a function called test, return true, and now we are going to go to this test and let's delete this test. So working. Let's see. The first method we are going to add is an assert no options, because at the first of each tier for each operation we need to assert the options array is empty on the properties. So I am going to create an assert no options, and we are going to accept an operation and here we are going to copy this and we will simply, we can't use self here, I think so this, let's see, let's see if this is working now. I'm going to first run the code without our helper, and now I'm going to delete this and uncomment this, and if we run it, well, we need a semicolon, but if we run it again, I need to import this class, and we are not going to need this one or this one or this one. So run it again. No, self. Let's see, where am I using it? So now it's passing. So now that we have created this helper, we can go to everywhere we do this. We are going to copy this, search for it, looks like we can search because it is in, and you can see there are 32 results, and that means we were using it in a lot of places. This is the one we can keep because it's our helper, and the others we have to be careful here. I think we are going to search for this thing rather than the other because the other is shared. So now there are only 12. Oh, Doug, hi, can you hear me? So I'm going to paste this here and replace all those things. And again, we are not only removing lines of code, but we are also making the tests clear to understand, because it's, when you see this, it takes some seconds to understand what it's doing, but using our helper method we can clearly see that we are asserting the operation has no options. So let's replace all of this and we will move to our next helper. Okay, so now we have refactored a little bit some things, so let's move to the next duplication. We have this other tab method that checks the value its assert equals for a value inside the property. So we are going to create another helper for that. We are going to duplicate this because we can reuse code here, and I am going to call assert operation property equals. And we are going to accept the property, the operation, the property name, and a value. So again, we are not using self here because we can use this directly, but we need to pass here the property and the value to access them in the closure. So we are going to get the options array that holds all the properties, set it accessible, and assert equals value to the property. And what I'm thinking here is that we can use a helper provided by Laravel called arrayGet to get this a little clean and to allow us to use dot notation that would be like array dot key, so we can access sub arrays. So this should work. Now let's test it. Here we are going to this assert operation property equals. We need the operation. We are going to check for the name, and it has to be name. So again, as I did before, I am first going to check if the test pass without our helper, and it does. So now we are going to use the helper, and we have an error because it looks like I messed the order of the array get. To do that, we are going to go to the Laravel and set documentation and search for array get to see the order of parameters. So we need an array and this one. So we should get it. Oh, right. We have a naming collision because here we are assigning a property variable and we are getting property here. I'm gonna call this key, and it should work now. And it does. So again, it's time to clear things up. I'm going to search for self assert equals, and we have 15 results. So now it's time to refactor. Oh, about the workflow. I suppose you know I'm using Alfred. That it's a nice application that replaces Spotlight and has workflows. And there is one workflow called, I think it is Dev Doctor. You can search it like Dev Doctor Alfred, and it offers documentations for a lot of things, and there is a lar keyword to search on the Laravel documentation. So lar goes to google.com, search laravel.com, the query, and then it has these parameters to use I'm feeling lucky and get directly to the page. I was using this before with another app like this for Linux, and I was using this URL, so if you aren't using Mac, you can also do it. So back here, we are checking the contents array property. Contains base 64 encoded content. So this should pass now, and it does. I am not going to run the test suite on every change. I am going to run everything after. So while I'm doing this, I guess I can tell you a little more about what tiers are we planning on making for Snaptier. So the only one we have at the moment is a test tier that checks if a repository it's a fork, and if it is, it moves them to an organization. It is something I was doing manually to clean up my GitHub profile, and it's cool to have a tier for that. So that's the only tier we have for now. but we are planning on doing other things. For example, I have this service called dependency. It's on dependency.mydomain, that is miguelpidafita.com, and it's like I suppose you will know Greenkeeper, that keeps node dependency updates. So it's like a service that does that thing for PHP dependencies. So I was planning to move it into Snaptier as a tier that updates your composer dependencies, and that would be another idea. We are also planning on having things like maybe update Tailwind versions or things like that. Looks like this is a different change because we are not getting a property of an array, we are getting the value directly, the value, but I can still do the change because this is getting an item in an array. So if I modify the test, I can check for this. So we are also getting the benefit there. Here we can, because this is an integer, we will leave this one for later, but we have lots of other things here. Oh, and Nuno is asking about something where YouTube is saying about typing Alfred in lowercase removes it. I have no idea of what that is. I have disabled moderation for the chat, so I mean auto moderation, so I don't know. So keep typing it in caps. That's a solution, I guess. This tool I'm using to manage the clipboard and to get what I copied, it's called Paste. You can, I don't know where you can get it, in pasteapp.me, and it's very useful. Let's see how. So let's see. I'm thinking of doing another stream today, because tomorrow I will not be able to stream, and probably there won't be another stream until Monday. So maybe I will do 2 today, and also create the an operation for deleting files. That it's another thing I want to do. And also, Dominic is editing the podcast. We recorded with our meeting, that it will probably be up today or tomorrow morning, so definitely check it out. We will post it in our Insiders Discord channel, and we will tweet it So, and send it an email for the to the mailing list. Okay, so we have refactored all we can. We have these three places where we are still using reflection, and that's because we aren't accessing an array. So I think we will need yet another helper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for everything that has reflection on the to see what else we can refactor. So we can ignore these ones. So we have this for assert null. We have one for assert null. So we have more than 3 for assert null. I guess I'm going to do another helper for that. So what this is doing is assert null the property something. So let's see. We are going to duplicate this one. Assert operation property null, and we want to get the name of the property. So here we will tap to the property name, that is key, and we need to import it here to bring it into the closure, and I'm going to assert null it, and then get past the operation and issue. And passing. And then we will need to an assert operation equals, but we are going to do that later. Now we are for the assert null. So this is our helper. This is outside scope, and here we have another. We have to assert organization. I need to copy the entire block next time. And again, I'm not running the test suite on every change to make this faster. I'm going to run it again to run the entire suite later. So this is user. These are vendor tests. So I think we are finished. So let's see what else we can improve. This assert, we need an assert property equals. Let me close all these tabs. So I'm not going to make this specific to operation because I think we can also reuse it in the test tier, in the tier test. So I'm going to call this object and this, for example, could be probably extracted to some kind of package. So if anyone's interested, go ahead. So this is an object. I think I can't. I don't think I can type hint class there, nor object. So no type hints for this one. So let's see. We need to get an object, reflect the object. We need the object, the key, and the value. We need the property something, and we need to assert the value equals this one. And now that I'm thinking about it, we can use this to refactor assert operation property equals. So instead of doing all this, we can this assert property equals. We pass the operation as the first parameter. We pass let's see, do we have a key here? Yes, but the key is for the operation. So we want options, and then here we want to assert that this is not going to work, so forget it. We can, because if the array has more than one item, and it's probably going to have it, then we can't assert equals it, so we can't refactor it. But we can use this here. So this assert property equals, we have the operation here, the key is 0 and the value is 1. Let's see if this is passing. Nope, it isn't. Operation is not defined. So there it is, working. So now I'm going to search for self-assert equals, and now we are going to be able to refactor all those three. I'm going to copy this. So let's see. Organization is Snaptier, and we can get rid of this, and here user is Snaptier. There we go. So let's see if we have any reflection. We can refactor here. Looks like we don't. So let's run our entire test suite to make sure we didn't break anything, and we did. Closure doesn't match string. So we are getting this in this test, where we are calling operation callback test. So let's see, here we are trying to see if the callback property equals test. Oh right, but we are running the closure. Let's see if we can do this. Yes, we can. So I was using the return test for this thing, but I guess I don't need it now. So let's run everything again, and we are green. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut this here and come back later with another stream. So stay tuned for the other one, and go to snaptier.co sign up for our mailing list, and you can follow our Twitter account or join the Insiders Discord server for more updates. See you later.